All right, y'all, welcome back to our next episode of the Soda Citizen podcast. I'm your host, Brad Allen, with my awesome co-host, Mary Lane Sloan. Can I call you co-host or co-pilot?
Oh,
what
sure.
Do you want to be? Yeah?
Just anything.
Yeah. So obviously this is for people in the greater Midlands, Columbia market about what it's like to live here. But if you're not living here already, keep watching because this is all about information you're going to need to know. Good guest today, good friends sometimes. John Sherrer is the head director. It's on your
We're
business
just going to
card.
give you all the titles you want today.
Director of Preservation.
Yeah.
There you
Restore
go.
Head
Columbia.
director of preservation. We're just gonna go with that one. So he is all nerd, all Columbia, all historic stuff, and some other stuff. But
Some other stuff.
yeah, you're like a regular on the podcast.
It's been a while, but I'm glad to be back.
Yeah.
It's always wonderful to see y'all and
Yes.
work with y'all. So yeah, let's rock and roll.
Yeah. So obviously, historic Columbia is near and dear to our heart because I think y'all do some of the best stuff when it comes to preserving, obviously, the history. I'm just being really redundant on history, historic Columbia.
Well, but
of
also
Columbia.
I think people can sometimes get a bad taste for like preserving history.
Yeah.
Like, does that just automatically mean we can't do anything to the historic stuff downtown? Is that you're like the limitation police? And I don't think that is what you do at all. So
No, not in the
clear
least.
your name.
So to be fair, a lot of folks I think that historic preservation, is antithetical to smart growth,
Yeah.
and it's actually the opposite. How do we know this?
Yeah.
Well, it's not just anecdotal information. We had an economic impact study that we commissioned and published over a year ago, and it proves that if you are a client who purchases a property in a historic neighborhood that has certain historic overlays and whatnot, the value of your property actually increases significantly compared to other houses in non-historic markets.
I probably should have read that.
Yeah,
somewhere.
no.
we should
We
read
It's
knew
okay.
that.
I have
that.
I have a lot of graphics. Graphics are
Yes.
good, so I
Yes.
can provide
Oh,
you
yes.
with those.
Brad
Yes,
loves
colors.
your
Lots of
graphics.
colors.
Yes.
colors,
Yeah.
pie charts, and little people and
Right,
dollar
right.
signs.
I like those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's make it emojis.
Yeah.
So here's the thing I love. So obviously I love history, and I think Columbia's got a great kind of just it's done a lot of the major things in history for the country, right? So, but the cool part is like we don't have like the way back history because old Sherman came through and destroyed most of it, right? So
boy.
when people ask
We'll
me about
talk more about
Columbia,
that
Comment below.
but I'm just saying, like, people go like, what's up? Like, what's Columbia? Like, well, we don't have a lot of super old stuff because that shit got burned down. So it's kind of a weird mix of like historic.
got some
Am I
stuff.
wrong?
So you're wrong, but I
Good thing I
never
went to
tell you
college
that.
for this shit. Good. I'm glad 4 years really
I
proved
love
me
it
right.
when people tell me you're wrong.
Well, first off, I would like to say that you have quote unquote history and you have prehistory, and our prehistory is significant because the Columbia area was a natural crossroads of cultures. So when you think of pre-European settlement, when you think of Native Americans, America's first people, they are here in Columbia.
Right.
Columbia is not a city until 1786, so that's a pretty big deal. It is the first planned city in the United States, first planned capital. A lot of people go, well, how about Philadelphia or how about Savannah? Or like, yeah, they're older and they're planned, but we weren't the United States then.
Right.
So
Ooh, got
yeah,
it.
so 1786,
Got 'em.
Columbia's a big deal.
Yes.
We're 3 years older than Washington. We've been doing it better in some ways
Oh,
than
for sure.
Washington.
Yeah.
So when people come here from away, like as we like to say, if they're living in the downtown area or if they're just working or recreating or whatever, they're like, oh, wait, it feels natural because they've come from maybe the Midwest. It's like a grid system.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there you go.
Uh-huh.
So I love
keep
Columbia
going
from
right.
that. Yeah, right. Exactly. And not too many one-way streets here.
Yeah.
Not like Charleston.
Oh, yeah.
But no, we're a significant place. Obviously, in the state of South Carolina is the second state capital, Charleston being the first, but in the nation. And we are a market that is growing. And it's not just in housing, but also in other opportunities as well.
Sure. And we do a lot throughout the Southeast, and so a lot of the cities that we work in, the Augustas, the Knoxvilles, they don't have like a similar like a vibe. It's all very hodgepodge. You can tell the different decades that came through, and I feel like Columbia didn't go like we've had this like natural just. You can probably describe the type of buildings better. I'm not that dumb to give you the descriptions. Cause he'll like DM me like that's not a bungalow, Brad. I'm like you. So
You know what we need to do?
Fight.
We
We need
need
an architectural tour.
We're going to do that. We're going to
Yes.
do an outing. We're gonna have an outing.
Oh, a
no,
field
you're
trip.
gonna get a fun bus.
Yeah.
And all of the staff is going to hop on, and we're going to go through the downtown and some
Yeah.
of the early
Yeah.
neighborhoods, and we're going to talk about the evolution, the architectural evolution,
Yes.
the story arc, if you
Yeah.
would,
Uh-huh.
from the earliest property, the Siebel's house.
Yeah.
That's of course, our headquarters at Historic Columbia. And then we'll take it all the way up to what I like to call kind of the neo bungalow. That's yeah. So we'll
I don't even know what that means, but I'm down.
yeah. So we'll have fun.
Okay.
And it'll be a
Then we'll have to have a
continuing
part two.
education
Part
experience.
2 of the podcast is
Yeah.
post field trip.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Well, we can go. So we're working on a new project for videos, and
Okay.
we're calling it Cart Talks right now. But we'll see. We're gonna get a golf cart.
Oh.
We've already got plans. Like we're gonna have cameras strapped up on it, facing in, facing out, and we're gonna go through neighborhoods and just
can't
talk.
wait.
So I think we'll get a
It's
4-seater.
similar
Put
to
John in the back.
Cash cab. Similar. We'll just pick people up and just ask them questions.
Yeah.
For real, like we actually are planning that out right now,
Yeah.
like because everybody likes neighborhood videos, but they're all similar
Mm-hmm.
downtown. I mean, we can tell the difference because we resell, but like if you just drive through them, like, oh man, Melrose Heights to Heathwood is very similar. Where's the line? But
I can tell you where the line
you,
is.
you
I can
stop.
tell you that you actually have to go through Oak Lawn.
Oh.
You have to go through Oak Lawn to
Yeah.
get to Heathwood. All right.
Yeah.
And
most people are not
Heathwood North isn't really Heathwood North. It's
Yeah.
really Kilburn Heights.
Uh-huh.
Talk about that.
I know.
There are nuances.
All right, we
Yeah.
got
I'll be more
we
than
got a
happy.
third passenger.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get a
Absolutely.
mute
You're
button
gonna
for you in the
stir up
back.
all the happy people
Can
there.
we get a cart that has like big wheels on it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
okay.
No, well,
And a
But
base.
no, I mean, does it have to have Gamecock stuff on it?
no.
Okay.
No.
But it's gonna have Hog Scooters. So that's gonna be our sponsors.
Oh, cool.
So
oh,
they're gonna
yeah,
let us.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we're gonna get like tricked out.
It
golf
could have
carts.
Gamecock stuff on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it won't. It'll just have Hog Scooters label. But yeah,
Okay.
all right,
So
we'll figure
look
that
for us in your neighborhood.
All right. All right. I
like
love
the
it.
ice cream truck, but better.
With bubbles.
It'll be the
Yeah.
history machine.
There.
The history machine. I love it.
There you go.
I love it.
All right, so now describe the feeling of the architecture for Columbia. If you had to like kind of put a title
In
on
like
it.
Sure.
4th grade level.
Yeah,
Fourth
please.
grade
Yeah,
level.
yeah.
Okay. Well, so let's do this.
Okay.
We'll keep it simple. So you did mention, of course, this kind of watershed era in Columbia's history, and that would have been February of 1865. About 1/3 of the city was damaged or burned during the tail end of the Civil War, during a brief occupation. That watershed moment pretty much kind of left this indelible mark, obviously, on the psyche of the city for the people who were living then, and really folks all the way up to the present who say, oh, well, there's no history in Columbia, or there's nothing left, and so forth and so on. And we quickly point out that there was more change rendered to Columbia 100 years later, quite frankly, during urban renewal. All right. So, but if we were on Main Street, there's nothing on Main Street that predates 1865.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fun
So
fact.
when you want to perhaps go and get maybe the vibe for the earliest buildings, I'd suggest you take me out to dinner at Bourbon. We'll talk a little bit about the architecture there. It's great. Christian Nemi runs a wonderful
Yeah.
ship there. Go all the way up into the 1600 block, 1700 block, and you're going to see some of those buildings that were erected 1865, late 1860s, 1870s during the Reconstruction period. So physical reconstruction, but also kind of reconstructing in far more other ways, political, social, et cetera. And then, but if you were on Main Street alone, you would see the evolution of essentially, 200 years worth of, 150 years worth of architecture there. Okay. So we'll go through mid-century modern. We'll go through Art Deco. You go to the Nick, great Art Deco theater, right? Say, oh, that's 1936. The facade is, and the interior, but the building itself, 1870s. So that kind of thing. So when we look at how the city has evolved over time, we do have these touchstones to certain very discernible periods in architecture. Yeah.
Is there anything in particular that you're like just super proud of from a historical, point of view that the city has done well, or a treasure that we have that you're just particularly proud of?
I would say yes, on a
Okay,
lot of different
good.
fronts.
Okay.
One of the things that I always champion is kind of the power of historic districts. I look not only at the residential districts, but certainly at what was City Center Partnership, now Main Street District. Without that kind of leadership, you would not see what we have on Main Street and on the kind of ancillary or parallel streets. So think of Assembly, think of course Sumter, and so forth. Look to the University Hill neighborhood, Earlwood, Cottontown, Elmwood Park, Hollywood Rose Hills. All of those earlier neighborhoods have really strong neighborhood associations, people who value their history and the architecture in many cases. I think what the city has done well is provide incentives. And one of the things that I champion all the time is the fact that the city has kind of signed on with other entities throughout the state with the Bailey Bill.
Oh, yeah,
So
the
Bailey Bill
I
tax
think,
abatement is an incredible
people
resource.
sleep on that. They do not realize the
Why don't
incredible.
y'all share what it is?
Sure. So let's just say that you have a property in a district that would be considered a contributing property, so architecturally contributing, and it needs a lot of work. Oh, I bought this house, and it's going to need a roof, and it needs new plumbing, and I need to repair the windows.
Yeah, right.
I need to repoint the brick. I may
Yeah.
need some work on the porch or whatever.
Right, because the point is not just to renovate the house, but it is to maintain the historical integrity of the structure.
Correct.
Yes.
And in doing so, if you find that you're going to hit a certain threshold of expense, right, you can apply for what is known as the Bailey Bill. It's a tax abatement that allows you to freeze the taxable base of that property for 20 years. Okay.
Right.
And so in doing so,
at the value
at
prior,
the
right.
pre-rehabilitation
And that's what
value.
People I don't think they see the immediate
Right.
value in that. So please
Yeah. So
elaborate.
I mean,
This
let
is
me,
where I get excited.
If I were just starting out, or if I were perhaps scaling back and I was getting a smaller house as maybe an empty nester, I would look for a building in a historic district that would qualify for this, and I'd say I want to do these improvements. Here are the guidelines. You work with incredibly talented city staff who will take you through the process, and you end up with a unique home that has architectural value, historical value, and it's modern. Your systems are modern. Now, it's not going to pay for like the light fixtures. It's not going to pay for your
but
plumbing
the
fixtures,
savings
stuff like
in
that.
your tax bill add up,
Absolutely.
and you can pay for all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's something that if you said, well, I did all this, but I want to move, it's transferable to the next property owner. And it's good for 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is an amazing thing. And you can couple that with potentially tax credits from the state as well, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
So that's where the
that's
where
a
the
big
rubber
deal.
meets the road.
Right, yeah.
I mean, let's talk dollars and cents.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense, and it saves you a lot of dollars.
And for people who get a little nervous about jumping into it, they're like, oh, like the house I live in is 100 years old. Like I love an older home, but for some people that are a little bit nervous, I do think that helps kind of take the sting out of it, because you're like, hey, I have a financial gain I could get from tackling one of these bad boys. You know.
Too bad I went in the city for my mid-century modern.
Too bad.
So sad.
Oh well.
Just the
You
county.
need a good realtor to
Yeah,
tell you
you
where you should have
do.
bought.
I need
He doesn't listen.
my wife does say that's her realtor. She's like, I need a realtor. I'm calling Marilyn. I don't blame her. I don't blame her.
Yeah.
So when we get back to the historical side of it, like the historic overlays, they're not just a complete blanket though. Because I own a house in Melrose Heights that is a 1940s, but it's not. Doesn't have a historical overlay where it is, but some houses do. Is it like block by block, or is it house by house? How does that get decided?
So some of the buildings that you would go through in a neighborhood and you'll say, oh, well, that one, the windows look different. They're modern replacements. I don't get it. Those would have been grandfathered in at a certain period, right? There are certain properties that would not necessarily be considered contributing because, say, the period of significance, ends in
Yours
1930.
is outside of the period of significance.
But I'm not sure.
Story of my
I'll
life.
have to do a little deep dive.
Story of my life.
The nice thing about
Let me replace my windows first,
Yeah,
please.
don't look it up yet.
I'll find out where you're here. That's the wonderful thing about Richland Online and providing.
Yes, you can't hide.
But no, when I think about the different districts, there may be buildings that fall outside the period of significance. So if it were like National Register nomination or National Register district, which Melrose Heights, Oak Lawn, Fairview is, it has the highest level of kind of protection locally, which is an architectural conservation district, as opposed to a community character overlay. It's a little different.
Gotcha.
So there are different things, and this isn't like big city coming in or
Yeah.
big government coming in telling you what to do. This is homegrown.
Yeah, yeah.
The people who lived in the neighborhood,
Right.
in the neighborhoods, they found the value in this, and
Yeah.
they wanted to keep what is special. So you don't have a cookie cutter
Sure.
Right.
existence.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it speaks to not just I think the warm fuzzies for the history
Sure.
side of things. It's also, obviously environmental impact too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So let's talk about windows real quick.
Oh, boy.
So that's always been the big
Oh,
stickler, right?
right.
Like you can't. So there has to be new modern replicas
Yes.
that could look good.
So, for instance,
but they're probably like 500 times the cost. Though.
no, they're not. They're not. So, for instance, let's just say that you have a 1928 bungalow, and that 1928 bungalow has 4/1s. So that's that's the
Yeah,
four
four
window
windows.
panes over the one,
Yeah.
right? And you have a window that needs to be perhaps replicated because you're going to go up into that first or the second story
Yeah.
where you had an unimproved attic, and you say, well, we want to put this in so we have some light. It's going to be a bedroom. Say, we want to do a paired window. It's going to be a 3/1. And you look at it and say, okay, well, you can do that. It's going to be, let's go with extruded aluminum over a wood frame window.
Okay.
All right. I've done that on 2 occasions. That is something that's perfectly legit. It works great. What it is not is 1/1 white vinyl windows that
Sure.
are antithetical to the character of the
Right.
building. So it's not draconian. There are other opportunities that you can go with. I've gone with just wood windows too.
Yeah.
Depends on what you want. But yeah.
Well, I think it's funny when people move here from, especially out west and up north, and they immediately want to know, did the windows open? I'm like, doesn't really matter if they open or not, because there's only like 1 week out of the year that you could open them and nothing yellow is going to blow in. So, you just hang tight and you let me know how many times you actually
No
open
doubt.
those windows.
I will say this.
Are you a window opener?
I am.
Oh, okay.
I am a window opener. But
Like,
now,
How many days a year?
I mean, we have about, I'd say 3 months that you can get away with it, and it's nice. You do get a little pollen.
You get a little pollen. That's
You get a
what I'm
little
saying.
pollen. I mean, be smart
These
about
people
it.
that are coming from where there's no pollen, I'm like, you're going to freak out.
Today, if it were warm enough, which it really is, I mean, you could open a window and there's not going to be any pollen because all of
Just
the
the
rain has
rain.
just settled it down, right? You know?
Right. Yeah.
I love a double hung sash.
You would love the double hung sash.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I am a proponent of the double hung sash,
yeah.
particularly when you can drop that top, right?
Yeah.
And you get the breeze through there.
Put your attic fan on.
I will
perfect.
say I
Good
have
stuff.
a back screen door that has that where the
Right.
top can come down. I will do that a lot, but I'm not going around opening my windows. Yeah, I know. Well,
It ties you to your beautiful garden.
it don't.
Much
okay.
better.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
She has
Yeah.
a huge garden out back. She really does.
Yeah.
All
You
right.
do. You're a garden person.
No, my husband is a gardener.
Oh, okay. There you
Sorry.
go.
Sorry.
I'm at the maximum of organisms I can keep alive right now. Do not bring me a plant unless it's a Venus flytrap because it's on its own. Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right.
Well, that was fun.
That was a touchy subject.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, therapy issue. So let's
That's
talk,
the next podcast.
let's talk about the evolution of Columbia. Yeah, obviously, you started when it became state capital, but there's been a lot of history from the World Wars and how the houses have changed.
Yeah,
over
100%.
time.
So let's start from the beginning, if you want to.
Jesus.
Not the
From the
not
very
I mean like not that
Oh,
very
okay.
beginning.
Gotcha.
Okay. So 1786. Where do you think
Oh boy.
the center of Columbia is?
Ooh, center of Columbia, 1786. It is on the corner of Lady and Taylor Street. Those don't even cross.
No.
Oh, I was like,
Just trying to
Lady
Wow.
and Taylor.
You're tired. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm on Vegas time.
Is it like Eau
so-
Claire?
No. So the
Oh.
original city limits.
trying to
Okay. Original
get-
city limits.
Yeah.
Upper Street is Elmwood Avenue.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Lower Street is Hayward.
Oh,
Eastern is Hardin Street. And then the west is kind of wishy-washy because it's really the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a 2 mile by 2 mile grid. All right. The epicenter of the state and of Columbia is at the intersection of Assembly and Senate Streets. Okay.
Oh.
Today we go, it's at the intersection of Gervais and Main,
Yeah.
formerly Gervais and Richardson Street. The reason that it was kind of moved to that point, the main district, that is Main Street, is because it was geographically higher and had better drainage than Assembly and Senate.
That makes sense.
People tended to get mired
Yeah,
at Assembly and
yeah.
Senate, which that's kind of funny in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an old joke, but it's one that we've had since about 1786.
Yeah.
So there you go. If you were to look at some of the initial growth beyond the 2 mile by 2 mile grid, you're going to start seeing the suburbanization of Columbia in the Waverly area. All right, so kind of that north east area, east section, just above Taylor Street and slightly below Taylor Street, right? You're going to see, of course, Shandon. People often think about Shandon. Elmwood Park.
Right.
Elmwood Park's like 1904 or so. You're going to see the Mill District. So when we think of the Mill District, okay, well, Olympia Granby, which is kind of conveniently above the northern or the southern city limit, okay, originally. And then most of it is below it, right? And so the mills were physically below the city limit. And so you do have today even still some of that in unincorporated Richland County, right? But you start thinking about what is it taking to get people out of the 2 mile by 2 mile grid. You know, if you're not living on Plain Street, which is now Hampton Street, if you're not living on Sumter Street or Assembly or maybe up in Arsenal Hill, how are you getting to these places? Well, you're going to get there via our electric streetcar, right? So the electric streetcar essentially comes in the late 1890s, and it runs until about 1928, at which point it's starting to get eclipsed by buses, right? And then it's in the I think it's about 1935, 36, the last streetcar is used. But those streetcar communities are those early suburbs. And it's really, really cool because if you're doing research, say, for instance, on a property, maybe on Millwood or on Fairview Drive or something, it'll say, you know, beautiful home, blah, 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 this many bedrooms, 1 bath, maybe 2, grove of pecan trees, blah, 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 1 block from the car line, right?
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, okay, well, it's a 1 block to walk to jump on my mass transit to get me downtown, because of course people were going downtown for the most part to go to work.
Yeah.
And so that's your first generation suburb, the rings, you know, the concentric rings. You're going out to Eau Claire, you're going out to you know, areas that are even beyond that. Then you have second generation suburbs. So think of, oh, okay, we're looking at kind of Kilburn Heights, and then we're starting to go into Forest Acres and, you know, across the river, and then beyond that. And then with, of course, the interstate system established after World War II, we're really getting people out. We're going to take them out to the northeast. We're going to take them out to the southeast. Now we're growing out into lower Richland County, and then everybody going out, of course, across the river into Lexington and so forth. So, but when you see one of kind of the biggest impacts is, of course, the establishment of Camp Jackson, later Fort Jackson. All right. So there's a huge chunk of the real estate,
Wish we had that back.
right? A great deal of real estate that's out there that's obviously not being developed quite the way everything else is. But what it's producing is not just soldiers and leaders, but also folks who are retirees too. So they're coming to Columbia maybe for training, they come back, maybe they're stationed here, but they're getting to know Columbia and place. I'm going to retire here.
It is very clear. I like Columbia. I make a living by selling Columbia. I love Columbia. But I get people that move back, retirees. They've been to Hawaii. They've been to all these places. Like, I'm going to retire in Columbia. And so it's kind of, one, confusing, but also very heartwarming. It's like, you're coming back to little Columbia. You've been all over the world, and you want to come here.
Stuff.
Well,
we do.
So I will say this. I was born and raised in Columbia. I went to high school here. I left to go to school in God's country. That's in Clemson. I was there for grad school, and then I moved down to Charleston. I lived in Charleston for a while, and then I moved up to New England. Did not think I'd ever come back to Columbia. Came back in '96. Went to USC. Got a master's in public history there. That's when I started working in Historic Columbia. So August of '96.
Yeah.
Still there.
There you go.
I never thought I'd stay in Columbia, but Columbia became during that time, for me, a very livable city.
Right.
I told myself, if I'm coming back to Columbia, I'm not going to live like I did before, which was, in Forest Acres. Forest Acres is great. I'd love to live there now.
You watch your mouth.
I know,
You
I
watch
know.
your mouth.
Just
But
a
I grew up
different
there,
vibe.
so I
Just a
wanted
different
something.
vibe.
I wanted
Yeah.
something where I
Yeah.
could literally walk to class or walk, to work if I wanted to, and that's what I was able to do downtown. And so I found that it was a very, very livable city. It was affordable. There were amenities then that were, I'll say, just good enough to keep me here, but I was able to participate in things that made a difference to make the capital city that much better. And so Columbia's a great place where even small people can have big impacts.
Yeah. So yeah, you've raised a family here. You've lived your life here. So like, what do people need to know about in your mind if they're like, hey, I'm through a dart, I'm coming to Columbia. What do I
They
need to
do
know?
that, Some
They
people
do.
Really
Oh, no,
just
no,
throw
for
it out.
real.
Yeah. So for all the dart throwers,
I would say that you have you legitimately have people who will welcome you with open arms to the city, to experiencing things here because we're proud of it.
Yeah.
Right. And there are things to do if you have young kids. There are things to do if you have teenagers, if you have college kids. I mean, some folks stay here. If you are empty nesters, if you're a young professional, there's enough in Columbia to really keep you busy 365. So, years ago, people said,
there's
"Nothing to do in
nothing to
Columbia.
do.
There's nothing to do." I'm like,
yeah.
whose calendar are you
Right,
looking on?
I know. Yeah,
And, yeah,
same.
it was just like, I'm sorry, but there's too much
Yeah,
for me to
there's
do.
always
And actually,
something,
and what I love about it is there's enough to do where I can always meet new people, but I have the opportunity to potentially run into really
Oh,
close
yeah.
friends,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah.
Lunchtime.
Lunchtime.
Yeah, lunchtime, and there are really a lot of great
Right?
places to
Yeah.
go to eat. Yeah,
I like how you did that.
Yeah.
No, I know. There you go.
Yeah.
But no, and some people say, "Oh, Columbia is perfectly, situated geographically because you're 2 hours from the coast and 2 hours from the mountains." And I say, yes, and you're absolutely 0 miles from where home can be.
Yeah. Right.
So
that's a good
I
point.
tell you one thing.
Yeah.
If it's hot, it's August, you're gonna find me on the river,
Yep.
tubing down.
Yes.
3
Yeah,
hours
yeah.
Of uninterrupted, much cooler
Uh-huh.
temps and entertainment and just fun stuff. You go past the river. I'm sorry, past the zoo. That's a great place.
Have you done the new gondola?
I haven't yet. I haven't.
Yeah.
I want to do that soon.
Me too.
It looks really fun.
My high schooler just did it. She said it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Just a gondola, isn't it?
It's not just a gondola. You're going
Yeah.
over a really
Yeah, it's a
wonderful
great
body of water.
experience.
Let's talk about the history of the river, John.
Okay.
No, but
Okay.
we are going to have somebody on the podcast that's going to talk about the development on the river. So,
Yep.
being on the historic preservation side,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
what do you hope that looks like, or how are y'all going to help control that?
So this is super cool because just yesterday I had the opportunity to be
I
a
knew
part
this,
of
by
a
the way.
design charrette
What?
for a design charrette. Bunch of people talking
Yeah,
about
fifth
what
grade
they-
words. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
We're just people talking about what we'd like to see
There you go.
in the development of
Quit being
Riverfront
such a
Park.
charrette. Yeah.
About 80 acres
Okay.
worth of
Right, because there's going to be that
yes,
park
yes.
down there, right?
And so I had the opportunity to be with a number of individuals who represented the Girl Scouts and the arts community and ecological concerns and whatnot. And we're like, what do you want to see for this 80+ acre park? And it was so cool because I was like, well, when we're looking at this, don't look at the park as necessarily going to the park via the land. Think about what's it going to look like when you're coming off the river,
Right.
And so one of the things I said is, if I'm somewhere, I want to know what was here. I want to know the history of it.
Yeah.
And so while we do have some wayside interpretive signage on both sides of the river, I said I'd like to see a little bit more. Why is this significant? Why is this in a natural setting for all intents and purposes, as opposed to other areas that were developed over time? So yeah.
Yeah,
That's
no,
exciting.
because it used to be a navigable. Am I wrong? It used to be like a navigable river.
So we're on the fall line,
Right.
This is the area in the state where the river ceased to be navigable because of the rocks.
Yep.
We were able to circumvent that initially by portaging, moving stuff physically out of your boat, taking across land, then getting across, beyond the rocks. Then we said, okay, well, let's put a canal through there.
Yeah.
So we did that through, Irish labor came here in the 1820s rather, and you had a navigable waterway that way. And then you're like, oh, you know what? we're going to bring in the railroads, like everybody else, but we're going to bring in the railroads, and then the canal gets abandoned in favor of that. But what you have here is a really, really cool area of the state where you've got, class 3, class 4 rapids in certain areas. That's not just a local or a state draw. That's a national, international draw.
Right.
And, you have this natural setting where you get a chance to see all the turtles and all the lilies, and it's great hiking and cycling. It has stimulated people's investment and interest. You have amazing things that have been done. For instance, with the Boyd Foundation, Boyd Island, and all of the improvements that we're talking about in terms of creating 27 miles worth of pedestrian and bike linkage.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's
a big deal.
that's pretty darn cool.
Right.
So it just keeps getting better. It just keeps getting better.
Yeah, no, I agree. So let's kind of take us on the housing designs of World War One and World War II, like post-war, how that affected the Forest Acres area, stuff like that. Because we have some bungalow style, but then we got a bunch of ranches.
Oh yeah,
and some God bless tri-levels. Love tri-levels. It's like that's like a feat of engineering. It's like, hey, we have ranch style houses, they're flat, but now we have a hill. What do we do? It's like, hell, let's just throw half a thing underneath it. Now we got a tri-level.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Love it.
Love tri-levels.
Okay, so
we sell tri-levels, by the way.
Yes.
I was like, there goes that chunk of audience.
Well, let's take a look at. You said the World War. So let's look at World War One. All right. So here it is. It's 1918. We have Camp Jackson up and running. Our first generation suburbs are, they're fully established at this point. I am leaving my office downtown Columbia, and I'm hopping on, maybe the electric streetcar, or maybe I'm in my car, maybe I'm walking. I don't know. Depends. I get to my bungalow, kind of traditional bungalow. When you think about, it's like that's what you see in California. Well, bungalows were ubiquitous throughout the United States at that point. It's kind of every person's cottage or every person's house. And then you have the cottages, which look different, higher pitched roofs and so forth. American four squares, just your boxes and stuff like that. Your colonial revivals, your eclectic revivals. So think about maybe going down Fairview Drive. There's a lot of different looking buildings, right? And then if you're on Shirley Street, you get to see the Powell House, and that is the most pure example of prairie style architecture. So think Frank Lloyd Wright, Chicago, so forth and so on. We're moving beyond that. It's 1946. And we're going with what's known as a minimal traditional, or MNTRAD. MNTRAD. So some of the housing forms that you saw before, but you're not having perhaps as most, the roof lines are changing. You don't have as much molding. Things are simpler. And then that starts to morph into your ranch style. And the cool thing about Columbia in terms of ranches is you have what I would call kind of spec ranches, right? A lot of them are, the form looks very familiar. I'm seeing that in this neighborhood and that neighborhood. Not necessarily identical,
right?
But very much, predictable. And then you have your genuine architect one-ofs. And they are found not just in Forest Acres, though that's a big area, but in Kilburn Heights and, of course, in areas in the Northeast and the Northwest of here. And then, of course, when you end up with the ranch style after that, then it's 1980s, 1990s, 2000s, so forth. You start seeing housing forms that are kind of pulling little elements here and there that were found in earlier properties. But for instance, if you say, well, I have a bungalow, all right, there may be bungalow features on something that was built in 1995 or 2000. But that bungalow, if it were historic, it wouldn't have a front-facing double garage where the biggest element of, not that there's anything wrong with that, but in terms of, your sophistication when it comes to like the history of it, it's like, oh, okay, well, this is later. These are the elements that someone valued and they wanted it, and that they also wanted to have, a place that would be for their vehicles. So forth.
So we, to kind of wrap this up, we got a couple last things. So one is any big projects Historic Columbia is working on, or are they just keeping on preserving?
We are keeping on, but we're very excited to announce that in May,
it's right here, exclusive,
May 14th, It can
Okay.
be.
Yes.
Is our 50th anniversary of our Historic Preservation Awards.
Okay.
So I've been doing it since 1976.
That's a big
Though we've
deal.
been around since 1961. So this is a big deal. We're going to be celebrating that, and not just looking at all the successes and victories, but also being very frank about the losses in terms of the historic fabric that we're working with. So we've had some properties in the past. I say we as a city, as a county, that have unfortunately been demolished. Again, you can't save them all, but you can certainly know what you have. And in knowing what you have, then you can make informed decisions as to how are we going to integrate this into smart growth for the rest of the city. Where are we going forward? And that's actually what our tagline is. It's 50 forward. We're not just looking 50 past. Historic Columbia is an entity that looks at local history and historic preservation and provides that through heritage tourism, adult programs. We're in the classroom, so forth and so on. But we're also looking about where are we going to be in 50 years, right? So believe it or not, you're old enough now to be in the National Register. I'm old enough now to be in the National Register. Marilyn, you have so much time.
I have a birthday next week.
You have so much time. But no, in all seriousness, we need to think about what are the elements that we value currently in our capital city, and what can we do to preserve those for the next generation or two.
Well, not only that, but I think y'all have a great social network as well. Y'all do so many great events, and we've been able to be a part of those in the past. And it's like
Cool people love history.
Yeah.
Something
They
like
do.
that.
Yeah.
And y'all have been very supportive
Yes.
and cool
Yeah.
people of you guys.
That's right.
So
Well,
there you go.
No, but you've got, I mean, I don't know what's on the slate this year, but we partook in, there was a Civil War water balloon fight reenactment back in the day.
It was
Was
a
it
water
that?
balloon. Okay, so this was several years
Was it
ago,
all that?
but we were actually in partnership with some drill sergeants from Fort Jackson, and it was military tactics over
There we go.
over the
Okay.
generations.
We had to march in a line. It was
So, yeah,
weird. I don't
yeah,
know. I got
yeah.
hit in the face with a balloon.
Yeah, that'd be good for you.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
it was good stuff. I mean, like it's fun to hang out. It's especially because you have two different groups, right?
Well,
Like,
we have a lot of different folks who participate in Historic Columbia, literally from like the youngest to the eldest. One of the things that we do, I think that your or our guests would be interested in is walking tours. We've got walking tours of historic districts. We have programs that are local history. We have programs that are really super cool in terms of our horticultural work. So you come
that
to
greenhouse is beautiful.
the Boyd Horticultural Center at the Hampton Preston site is an amazing property. Concert in the gardens. Come and listen to music in a beautiful garden.
Yeah.
We have Oasis.
Not the band.
Not the
I was going,
band.
like, what?
We don't really have Oasis in that. But we have these oases in downtown Columbia where you can walk from Main Street. Maybe you've seen a really wonderful show at the CMA.
Yeah.
You've gone to Lula Drake and you've had James Beard Award, a glass of wine, and just hospitality.
Yeah.
Walk a couple blocks to the east and see
Yeah.
some of the most beautiful gardens.
Yeah.
And you will see things in our gardens that you cannot find anywhere else in the state or even in some of the tri-state area.
So don't pick them.
Don't pick
Don't
them.
pick 'em.
Don't pick them because that is a living collection.
That's right.
That's a curated collection.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that everything that you enjoy, the next person can enjoy.
That's right. So we like to ask all our guests, like, if you had like the ultimate Saturday
Yeah.
in downtown Columbia, what would it look like?
Well, the ultimate Saturday would be waking up early, making sure that Brad is working out with me at an early morning workout group,
I
peer
work out.
led. That'd be good. And then after that, I'm probably going to go to, honestly, probably like Cinnamon Roll Deli and get like a breakfast bowl because
Yeah.
that's really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something outside,
Okay.
whether it's working or just something. I'm a guy who needs a product, right?
Okay.
That might be 2 hours worth of yard work, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. But the nice thing about our climate is pretty much all
right,
year round. You
right.
can be outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much 355 days.
Yes.
And then I'm probably going to go see some type of activity like maybe Soda City. Walk down there, look at some of the stuff that's available, whether it's food, maybe eat a little bit more, good like that.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go try to find a place outside that I can socialize, whether maybe it's Craft and Draft, maybe it's Wico, some place like that, Beer Keller, some place where there's a lot of energy. Then I'm going to start thinking about, all right, what's the afternoon going to look like? No, I really probably need to wear off all those calories. No, I'm not going to nap. I'm going to fight that, and I'm going to go. I'm going to go out to Congaree or maybe Harbison or maybe down on the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
And get some,
Digestion walk.
get those calories burning. After that, I think, well, all right, now it's time to do something fun again. Maybe go see something at the Nick. Maybe take in a sporting event where people can do it much better than I ever thought I could hopefully do.
Gamecock football.
I mean,
Yeah.
sure, absolutely.
Or
Incredible athletes.
baseball. Or
Baseball,
yeah.
right. And then, I didn't say anything about Historic Columbia, but I worked there. But I would say the best experience would be to come and enjoy our gardens, bring somebody that's not from Columbia and show them a good time doing something with Historic Columbia, obviously. And then Sunday, do it all over again. Do it all over again.
Yeah. That sounds like a great Saturday.
Yeah.
But it starts really with
Brad.
With me.
Yeah.
As all great days do.
My wife is a lucky woman. Every day is a good day for her.
She's blessed.
Yeah. Hashtag. All right, John. Well, as always, we appreciate it. We're going to have to figure out this cart talk thing because I think I think we got something.
Or I
there.
like to go back to the party bus.
We can do a party bus. Yeah,
Party
definitely do a
bus architecture.
I think that would be good.
Okay, we'll figure it out. But
All right. Continue education.
Yes, continuing it.
Big words, yeah. But yeah, as always, thanks for being a good
thank you
advocate
so
of the
much.
city.
Thank you. No, it's
This
always a
was
pleasure spending time with y'all, and
such good
we
information.
really appreciate the partnerships.
Yeah.
Part of real estate.
Thanks.